Test 1 2, test, 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 test 1 2, test 1 2. Good evening and welcome live to YouTube and our Fort Lee Athletics channel. It's Bridgman Athletics coming up, boys basketball, as Fort Lee at 2-5 looking to stop a 5-game losing streak. They take on Big North American Division rival Dumont. The Huskies in at 3-3 overall, 1-3 in league play. Hi everybody and welcome. Ralph Bjornchik on hand from Fort Lee Gymnasium as these two teams gather for the first time this year. They'll play at Dumont coming up on February 3rd. For Fort Lee, still looking for their first home victory after starting off the season 2-0. They ran into 3 straight losses at their own tournament, the Jack Riley tournament, right after the holidays and after the new year, before last time out on Saturday losing a heartbreaker 56-53 to Passaic Valley. They were outscored 18-8 in the fourth quarter. They take on a Dumont team that did graduate a couple starters, also lost a projecting starting guard, but they have started to put it together at the right time right now. Dumont comes in off of a Saturday win against Nutley at home, 56-52. They have won 2 in a row. Bring you the starters in a moment. First up, our national anthem. It's Dumont and Fort Lee coming up on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Once again, it's time for Fort Lee boys basketball as the Bridgemen taking the floor at 2-5, taking on the 3-3 Dumont Huskies in a Big North American Division battle. Ralph Bjornchik on hand. Let's give you the starters first for the Bridgemen and second-year coach Josh Ford. He's had the same starting lineup all but one game this year, as his lineup will look like this. His 6-foot senior Jacob Greenberg will likely be the primary ball handler, alongside 6-foot sophomore John Avazoglu, who's coming into his own as a shooter. 16 points, 3 threes against Memorial. Here right before the new year, Mutassim Al-Hajayi is the 6-foot junior center. 6'3 junior playing the 4 spot is Mark Ilya, first-year starter as well, second year in the varsity. And Jacob Greenberg will be the swingman, 3-year starter. Honorable mention, Big North All-Division honors last year. Meanwhile, for Dumont, Milo Santos, 5'10 junior point guard. Christian Guareno and Prince Munoz are his wings, with the 4-man Aiden Reed, a returning award winner, and Nate Vasquez, a 6'2 junior center. Bridgemen winning the tap and lining up the long-range jumper. That would have been a 3 that could not be knocked down by Jake Ehrlich. And we're underway tonight. The JV battle exciting, won by Dumont by a point, 52-51. And Dumont ran away with the freshman game, so they look for a road sweep, as we have a whistle and a foul. An initial foul on Jacob Greenberg, picking up number 1. So for Josh Ford, his team, the Bridgemen, trying to contain and limit turnovers, and that has been the greatest sore spot for Fort Lee in the midst of this 5-game losing streak. It's a Dumont team that is tremendous on the defensive end, turning teams over and having a defensive identity under second-year coach Matt Butler. First possession for Dumont. On the backdoor cut and a finish. Good feed. Prince Munoz was able to get the pass, and he lays it in. And the good pass came from Christian Guareno. The pressure near the sideline. Releasing is Jacob Greenberg. A skip up top. Al-Hajayi will try the three as Elia goes over the back. A good box out underneath despite giving up some inches from Prince Munoz. And that's Elia picking up a personal. So 2 early fouls here on Fort Lee tonight. For the Huskies, they're looking to share the ball a lot better. That's something that they're starting to come together with. But there is Santos over dribbling, turning it over. Push from Jacob Greenberg. Al-Hajayi on the follow-up, and he gets the scoring started tonight for Fort Lee. Motassim Al-Hajayi had a 15-point game with a pair of threes against Bergenfield before the new year. Guareno settles for the fall away. And the rebound attempted to be tipped by Nate Vasquez. Ilya on the push. And that's a tough fall away. Good defending by Dumont there and Milo Santos. And they're finally on the glass are the Dumont Huskies. Dumont led by Aiden Reed. Have a chance to talk about him. He has yet to take a shot. Guareno flips it up and in. So Christian Guareno showing some good power on the low box. Able to get that to fall. He is a gamer and is a scorer that for Matt Butler, they're waiting for him to put it all together. Ilya on the kick. Al-Hajayi up and under, challenge there at the rim. There by the 6'3" senior Aiden Reed. Stepping through, Santos rejected out of bounds by Jake Ehrlich. Well, Aiden Reed, a 2-year starter, last team, second team, all Big North American, coming off of back-to-back double-doubles. He's the leading scorer, a little over 16 a game and a little over 7 rebounds per game. Last time out, went for a career-high 24 and 10 in against Coach Matt Butler's hometown team of Nutley. Santos found the gap. Then heading to the leaner is Prince Munoz. Munoz keeps it alive. Munoz got it back and scores. A couple of early baskets for Prince Munoz. And Munoz in that Nutley win, 13 points, 6 assists, 5 steals, filled it up. And that was a career high for him. At 6'2", and there's the ball pressure, and Munoz comes up with the takeaway. Munoz then lobs, looking for Aiden Reed. Santos waits for the flyby, and Santos could not get the knockdown. Al-Hajayi against the bigger player inside Guareno, with Reed able to rebound. Dumont has the look of a team that is physically strong, not a lot of size, but a lot of physical strength. Now Reed for the first time to the rim, wild shot not there. Follow also misses from Nate Vasquez. Greenberg, good look inside for Ilya. And we have a whistle, that's no shot. It'll be a timeout taken by Josh Ford, with his team having been held to just a field goal here early. 6-2 Dumont. He earned the early going. So off that Passaic Valley loss on Saturday, fourth quarter turnovers bearing the Bridgemen, and they had the lead late into the last couple of minutes. And tonight they're taking on a Dumont team that forces a lot of turnovers. How will Fort Lee make the adjustment? And talking to Matt Butler, indeed the strength of his team has been their ball pressure, both this year and team identity, as he is in his second year, previously 9 years as an assistant coach to previous coach Ken Martorell. And they have shown the potential of being a uber consistent, heavy pressure ball hawking team. But they have to be under control, and high intensity is the style of Dumont defensively, along with taking charges. As we see a foul called, the first against Dumont, a hold will be on Milo Santos. Greenberg, Al-Hajayi, and he was contested there by Christian Guareno. Santos, he'll try a deep one. And Ehrlich able to tip it here to Jacob Greenberg. Greenberg will leave. John Avazoglu, can he have a good shooting game today? With the size and length of this Dumont team, and perhaps will Dumont overplay a ton, leaving Avazoglu open to take a lot of threes, as that is a ball off the foot of a Dumont player. Avazoglu against Memorial got free for a career-high 16 points in that one here. Dumont primarily a man-to-man team, but look at how far they will extend and comfortably extend. Ilya on the kick. Avazoglu, clean look. And that's one that Fort Lee's got to get to go down. Offensive rebound, kicked out, and Jacob Greenberg will nail the three. Abdullah Saidi just came in off the Fort Lee bench. Was able to come up with that kick out and the knockdown. Reed hits the side of the backboard, and scrapping for the rebound was Jake Ehrlich. Greenberg knifes through, and Greenberg perhaps hoping for a call. Guareno the rebound. Into the hands of Josiah Monegro off the bench, and he has a transition three for Dumont. First made three for the Huskies. Monegro basically plays starters minutes. He has 14 threes prior to that look to lead the Huskies, as there's a backdoor cut for Jake Ehrlich to convert. Dumont also a rare high school team that may play as many as 10 in competitive games, as Reed still looking for his first field goal. Avazoglu had Ehrlich in the backdoor cut, then trying to feed Ilya. And great hustle by Santos to outlet ahead for Monegro, but then Monegro took his eye off of it. And a couple of unforced errors that have led to cupcake turnovers by Dumont. Fort Lee also going to the bench further, as Andrew Gegich-Corey, 5'10" junior guard, will come in. Josh Ford, he is only really using 8 full-time varsity players compared to Dumont with a much larger roster, and probably going to play 10 in a competitive game, as Motassim Al-Hajayi for the second time is able to take his man off the dribble. And Fort Lee, after a slow start, has tied up things at 9. And now with their 1-2-2 press for the first time. Monegro stepping out further and still knocking down the three. Josiah Monegro has come in immediately, has made his presence felt. Came up with 2 threes a couple of games ago and 10 points against Elmwood Park, as Al-Hajayi right back with the response. Nearly a carry by Munoz, setting up again Monegro. This time he misses his three. Avazoglu, and that's a line drive rushed air ball for 3. Final 20 seconds. So far a well-played opening quarter. Fort Lee has been able to work against on-ball pressure by Dumont. Dumont, a couple of uncharacteristic self-inflicted turnovers. And with the final seconds, that's a travel called against Monegro. So that's 3 unforced turnovers by the Huskies. As Gegich-Corey will get it in for Avazoglu, who will not be able to get a chance to look at the basket, as the first quarter comes to an end. 12-11 Dumont here at the end of one. We're just getting started on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Back for the start of the second quarter. If you're liking what you're watching, well, please support our Athletic Booster Club. Our sponsors help me make this broadcast be possible. The Fort Lee PBA, Cafasos Fairway Market, The Finest Construction, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and Doro Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camps, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me Restaurant, Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Collective Salon, and the Fort Lee Education. Thanks to all of our sponsors helping make these broadcasts be possible live and on demand here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Ralph Bjornchik on hand at 12-11 Dumont. A couple of threes off the bench for Josiah Monegro. And Fort Lee coming out in a zone look here for the first time. So Monegro at the top. Also here's senior Jeremy Victoria on the floor for the first time. And Victoria also just turned it over. So it has been Dumont that's been giving the ball away. And Fort Lee seeking their first lead of the night. Elia on the high post. And Elia, offensive foul. Elia ran through the Dumont player. That's Tyler McKelly. A 6-foot junior backup forward. And that embodies Dumont basketball. They pride themselves on talking about and taking charges in the high school game. McKelly worked his tail off all offseason. And Matt Butler loves his ability to communicate on the court. And a big culture player that's worked his way into that nearly 10-man rotation. And almost every game he's taken a charge, and add this one for Tyler McKelly. 1-2-2 press. McKelly trying to save it. And it'll stay here with the Dumont Huskies. Dumont a year ago went to the state tournament. They've gone to the state tournament now 3 straight years in North 1 Group 2. A tough step back. Monegro still nails it. That's a 3 out of the corner. Josiah Monegro with 9 of the 15 for Dumont. Elia. And as Elia has it knocked out of his hands. By the way, the charge on Mark Elia was his second foul. But with Fort Lee not especially deep, Elia will remain in. Greenberg, and Greenberg is stuck. Fortunate to get it out to Al-Hajayi. Now a deflection, and look at Zach Horgan also just came in, get on the court for Dumont. Again, no shot clock in the state of New Jersey, and now a hold will be called against the Huskies as they had a perfect trap put on. That's going to be the first on Aiden Reed. Now, Dumont's defensive identity, as I was talking with Matt Butler, it sure sounded a lot to me in terms of potentially, in terms of putting on-ball pressure on a team without being a pressing team. Made me think of Rick Pitino. And what do you know, as Elia drops it off inside for Al-Hajayi. He has 8 and the foul. A late whistle that I didn't hear either. And the foul's on Josiah Monegro, his first. So Al-Hajayi working on a double-figure potential first half. 8 of the 13 for Fort Lee as he makes the free throw. In any event, Dumont's style of ball pressure without necessarily being a full court pressing team made me think of Rick Pitino, and that's exactly who Matt Butler says who he admires the most and takes the most out of, perhaps most influenced by, is there is another Dumont turnover. Speaking of ball pressure, as Milo Santos' pass handcuffed his teammate. So Fort Lee another opportunity to take their first lead. Jacob Greenberg hops through and he'll pick up a foul on the floor, and that'll be number 2 on Milo Santos. Santos, the second leading scorer for this team, a returning second team All Big North American Division selection, just like senior Aiden Reed. As that pass gets away, Ilya, I think Jacob Greenberg was expecting to continue his roll rather than stopping his roll. And it's a Fort Lee giveaway. Fort Lee back to a 1-2-2 press with Al-Hajayi at the top. Monegro, and now he has to throw it off of Jake Ehrlich. Santos all the way to the rim. Good move there by Milo Santos with his first field goal. So Dumont at 17-14. Al-Hajayi. And active hands there. Aiden Reed was smelling the adjacent pass and gets hands on it. 3 straight state tournament appearances for Dumont in North 1 Group 2, losing in the first round every year. 2 years ago did have a Bergen County Jamboree victory in the first round as Eva Zoglu off of the 3. Al-Hajayi the rebound. Al-Hajayi gets it back for a third chance for Fort Lee. Evazoglu trying to turn the corner. His attempted hook shot, well defended, and now Santos on the push. Reed turned down to 3. Monegro also closed out well. Monegro will now take it to the basket and score. Josiah Monegro has come out aggressive. Known for his shooting ability, being a ball mover, and Matt Butler this year has just said, let's just allow him to play very freely. And he might have kind of the perfect mentality to be a 6th man playing starters minutes, as Eva Zoglu perhaps thought he was fouled. His 3 was partially blocked. Monegro on the leave. Outside after the ball fake, Munoz way off. Ehrlich, and he'll glide to the basket and score. Second field goal for Jake Ehrlich. And Fort Lee remains within a possession past the midway point of this opening half tonight. Fort Lee at 2-5, trying to stop a 5-game losing streak. To the rim, Monegro, as Ehrlich tried to draw the charge. Ehrlich gave it up, Eva Zoglu. And a corner 3 is a line drive, and then we'll get an over-the-back call on the Bridgemen. First foul on Motassem Al-Hajayi. One, 2-2 press again by Fort Lee. Monegro. Christian Guareno back on the floor for Dumont. Monegro then relocates, and he still is hot. 4th made 3 for Josiah Monegro. At a game-high 14 points. At Ramsey, a good program. He went for 29, including 5 made 3s against a perennial North Jersey power. And this might be a similar kind of game for Josiah Monegro. Greenberg, and he'll be tied up. Good on-ball defense by Prince Munoz. And he, along with Milo Santos, the 2 guards, and noted for their on-ball defense. Tie up in the arrow, though, points to Fort Lee, as Dumont has now built up its largest lead at 6. Ehrlich, quick catch and shoot on the baseline out of bounds. Saidi will rebound for Fort Lee. Ehrlich this time looks to the baseline, puts up the shot and scores. Jake Ehrlich also took a hit. Still seeing some stars after that one as Elia comes up with a block on Prince Munoz. Al-Hajayi all the way to the rim. And let's see if he is caught. And let's see if they'll give him 2 shots. And they will. Second foul on Aiden Reed, who was still scoreless for Dumont. So Motassem Al-Hajayi, super energy guy. He has won a spot on this Fort Lee team and playing the 5 spot. He gets 1 of 2 and is into double figures to lead the Bridgemen. And at the top of their 1-2-2. Monegro will leave here for Jeremy Victoria back on the floor. Bounce pass in for Reed. Back out for Munoz. Victoria turned down the jumper. Christian Guareno. And Guareno, big step. And Saidi, decent defense. And the lefty layup short. Al-Hajayi. Elia with a look to tie. And Elia still looking for his first points. Approaching the final minutes of this opening half. Dumont won a close one on Saturday home against Nutley. Fort Lee lost a close one at home to Passaic Valley also on Saturday as Reed can't get that to drop. Greenberg off the hesitation and Monegro is able to swat him. Up ahead, Reed will get an easy one with a stuff. Aiden Reed's first basket. Dumont by 5. Ehrlich sees the lane open up, puts it up. It will count for Jake Ehrlich. The block is called underneath. And they call the foul on Monegro. That's listed as his first. And back to a 3-point Dumont lead. Dumont has led the entirety of this first half on the road. Huskies looking for their first road win of the year. Victoria. Dumont has just 2 seniors on the roster as Matt Butler will spend the timeout to talk it over with 13.8 on the clock. So for this Dumont team, big barometer test was game 3. They were 1-1, and they went to Ramsey, lost a competitive game 76-62 in that one. Against an impressive team, a skilled team that shares the ball. Matt Butler happy the way his team battled, but they just weren't efficient enough. But he was able to tell his team, look, we have talent, we can compete. Then the next game, lost by 20 at Demarest. And then they came off of that on December 30th, a home game, and they blasted Elmwood Park, winning by 22, a physical and aggressive team that they got on very early before Saturday's win over Nutley. Josiah Monegro, the hot hand, with 14 points, including 4 threes in this first half, could be a candidate for Dumont to try to free up here for a look. And they'll start with Munoz, with Santos having picked up 2 fouls. A pick and pop, stepping out, Monegro, got a great look. Final seconds, the heave by Munoz. And then Guareno's tip would have been after the buzzer. So Dumont rides that Monegro first half to a 24-21 halftime lead at the break. Monegro with 14, Prince Munoz with 4. The leading scores for the Huskies, Motassem Al-Hajayi with 10 of the 21. For Fort Lee, Jake Ehrlich has also poured in 8. 24-21 is the score here at the half. I'll be back in about 10 minutes to bring you the second half. You're watching Fort Lee basketball on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Start of the second half coming up between Dumont and Fort Lee in Big North American Division action. Fort Lee 2-5, 2-3 in the Big North American, while Dumont on the season is at even 3-3, 1-3 in Big North American Division action. First meeting of the season. Ralph Bnorchik back with you. Dumont being led in scoring by Josiah Monegro's 14 points for the sophomore, including 4 made threes. Prince Munoz has chipped in 4, and the top players for Dumont based on awards and also the lone 2 returning starters, Aiden Reed and Milo Santos, have been held to just 2 points apiece. Santos sat for a good chunk of the second quarter due to foul trouble after picking up his second. Meanwhile, for Fort Lee, Motassem Al-Hajayi has 10 to lead the way and 8 points for Jake Ehrlich. Fort Lee has already knocked down 1-3 against the Huskies. That came from Jacob Greenberg. So Santos back on, and Fort Lee is going to pick up here man-to-man and switch and put Al-Hajayi, at least to start out on him, in a matchup, 2-3 matchup zone for Fort Lee. Trying a corner 3, that was Christian Guareno, and that's tipped out of bounds, last touch by Dumont. Dumont has led throughout. Down the middle, Ava Zoglu, all the way to the rim, he'll score. And Fort Lee has been able to break the press and the ball pressure of Dumont pretty well tonight. First field goal for John Ava Zoglu. Guareno, as his floater will drop. Second bucket for him, the big and physical 6-foot junior guard. He is one of many on this Dumont team that's playing their AAU basketball for the Bergen Stars organization. Underneath, Al-Hajayi got a good feed from Ava Zoglu. And back to a 1-point game. Munoz over the top for Santos in the 1-2-2 pressure. And a timeout is going to be taken here by Matt Butler, as I think he does not like the way his team is approaching and not attacking this 1-2-2 press. So an early timeout here at 26-25. Dumont also playing without a projected starting guard, rising junior Denzel Trinidad for the season. A preseason injury. He averaged almost 7 points a game last year. So the Huskies had to figure out a starting lineup around Santos and Reed, the 2 returners. And they've had players step up big, like sophomore Monegro and junior Prince Munoz, to fill in roles. Nate Vasquez, who got his 3rd straight start at center, has started to occupy that position. And a couple of bench players have started to fill out some roles. But what could be an interesting team in North 1 Group 2. Santos, he'll go with the pull-up, the contested pull-up over Elia, and that wouldn't go. Another chance for Fort Lee to take their lead for the first time. Al-Hajayi around Guareno gives the Bridgemen the lead at 27-26. Monegro almost walked. Now tries to step through, pass away from Santos. Chance to convert. Al-Hajayi all the way to the rim, continues to feast with 16. A new career high for Motassem Al-Hajayi. Reed, and a foul will be called. Ehrlich thought he had that clean. First foul on Jake Ehrlich, sending senior Aiden Reed to the free throw line. At 6'3", he plays the 4 spot as he knocks down the first. And a smooth-looking free throw. And Reed also playing AAU basketball for the Bergen Stars, played varsity football for the first time this fall as a wide receiver. Guareno, and now the press gets to Fort Lee. Monegro off the ball fake, still sticks to 3, his 5th to tie his career high. And now Ehrlich turns it over. A difficult 3 to make at any level. Josiah Monegro making the catch, putting the ball back down, and then resetting and back up with it, and still able to nail it. Monegro popped in for a handful of games last year, scored 5 points in a blowout at Newark Vocational. Here's Santos right at the key. And last touch by Greenberg. And Monegro would go in for some occasional minutes, even at the end of last year, very competitive games, despite being a full-time JV guy, for his shooting ability. Dumont back in front. Prince Munoz called for traveling. And then Jacob Greenberg's pass got away from Saidi. Another turnover against the pressure. Santos on the pull-up, not there. Tip also missed from Munoz. And we'll get a timeout by Fort Lee here to talk about handling the pressure. So Josh Ford not happy with the way his team has approached that 1-2-2 press. And he will go through things with his team again, trailing 31-29, and what shapes up to be yet another close game for this Fort Lee team. 3-point loss on Saturday to Passaic Valley. December 27th against North Bergen in their Jack Riley tournament first round against a team with very good guards. Lost that one 41-36. Similar story where turnovers did the Bridgemen in. They've been able to defend teams well enough in the 5-on-5. Greenberg down the middle for Ilya. Al-Hajai will step out and nail a 3 to continue his career night. 19 for Motassem. Fort Lee back in front. Milo Santos gives Dumont the lead back. Greenberg locating Ilya with the left hand. And Fort Lee has figured out this press now. First basket for Mark Ilya. And a good feed from Jacob Greenberg. Guareno dribble it off of his foot. Picked up by Reed. Santos on the spin. Put that up. A contested look, no. And now Fort Lee with the ball and the lead for the first time. Ilya the face-up on Monegro, and will pick up a whistle. That's number 2 on Josiah Monegro. Well, Ilya can be a tough matchup at the high school level. Got stronger in the offseason and worked the most on his body compared to everybody else on the team. Had 16 points at Paramus on opening night. Off the baseline, out of bounds, and Al-Hajai continues. Now in the right place at the right time. Poor defending by Dumont on the baseline out of bounds on the feed from Evazoglu. And now a Dumont turnover. Saidi looks for a gap, instead has the cutting Al-Hajayi, who will go to the free throw line. Al-Hajayi at the top of the press has scored. He's attacked gaps. He's moved well off the ball. He's nailed the three. And Fort Lee now with its largest lead of 3. Fouls on Jeremy Victoria, his first. But a pair of misses for Al-Hajayi. And back on for Dumont is Tyler McKelly. And that'll be Evazoglu taking the personal. Monegro, good feed inside, and McKelly, moving well off ball, draws the foul. So Tyler McKelly to shoot 2 games ago, 4 points against Elmwood Park in his breakout, and starting to sprinkle in and find a role for him as he makes the free throw, and he is making Matt Butler's job very difficult when you have for a high school team a rotation of 10, and the feeling being it's hard to sit anybody for an extended period of time. Everybody's bringing some kind of a value, even if it is for a minute each half, based on matchups. Ilya got the feed inside and couldn't finish. He was further than he thought he was, and we'll get another Fort Lee foul. Abdallah Saidi will take his first. And Fort Lee up to 4 team fouls in the third quarter. Monegro will leave outside. Reed will try the 3. And still held to just 1 field goal. Fort Lee breaks out with Greenberg, taking some contact and able to finish through it. Reed from the same spot, this time nails it. Aiden Reed for 3. And Dumont within a point. Al-Hajayi tried to go to the opposite corner. The save will go right back to Fort Lee, attempted by Victoria. Greenberg, and way short on that one. Final minute of the third. And a good ball game continues tonight at Fort Lee Gymnasium. Monegro still the high man with 17. Now the kick out. And a missed corner 3 from Munoz. His last touch by the Bridgemen. McKelly looked around, he's left open, and he drills a 3. Tyler McKelly, his first varsity 3, puts Dumont back in the lead. Ilio looks for Evazoglu. As he was closed off, final 20 seconds of the third. John Avazoglu on the drive, locates the cutting Gegich Corey. Andrew Gegich Corey evens things up at 40. Final seconds of the third. A look from the corner and the three right back for Prince Munoz. Dumont takes the lead on the road with them to the fourth quarter, 43-40. Prince Munoz with the three, the seventh of the game for the Huskies, with a timeout on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Start of the fourth quarter at Fort Lee. Once again, we'd like to thank our great sponsors for helping make these broadcasts be possible here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. The Fort Lee PBA, Cafassos Fairway Market, the Finest Construction Company, Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and Duro Electric, Bridgman Basketball Camps, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greet to Me Restaurant, Connect One Bank, Bergen Black Sox Baseball, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, as Mark Elia will go to the free throw line. The Collective Salon and the Fort Lee Education Association, thank you to all for helping make this broadcast be possible. Mark Elia to the foul line. Tyler McKinley picking up his first for Dumont. And a 1 of 2 trip, allowing Fort Lee to set up their 1-2-2 full court pickup. And senior Jeremy Victoria is able to bring it up. As he looks to the corner, Reed was cut off from either the drive or taking the immediate three. Now Reed will get it back, feet set, and buries that one. Eighth made three for the Huskies. And Reed is into double figures with 10. Somewhat of a quiet game for Aiden Reed, as Dumont, as a staff, has been on him also to rebound and put up big numbers there. That has also not quite occurred through three quarters. Elia off the crossover to the rim. And last touched by Victoria of Dumont. Ehrlich did not have an outlet. Avazoglu off ball reversal, just short, and Gegich Corey could not get to it. Dumont by 5. The Huskies have gone through stretches of turning the ball over in spurts, but now they're nailing outside shots. Santos with his first three. 9 for Dumont on the road, and now the Huskies with their largest lead at 8. Al-Hajai's pass for Gegich Corey, and then the Dumont player is fouled. That was Jeremy Victoria. And Dumont just speeding up Fort Lee. And the foul on Al-Hajayi is his second. Santos stepping through. Josiah Monegro back on the floor for Dumont. He'll take it all the way to the basket and spin it up beautifully from the left side. Well, Monegro has shown all facets of his game on the offensive end. Ilya was hoping to get contact. Rebound up ahead. McKelly with the lay-in. He has 6. Timeout, Fort Lee. Dumont by 12, building on their largest lead of the game. And the Huskies' depth showcasing itself tonight. 6 different players have scored in this game. And 9 have played for Dumont coach Matt Butler. And for Fort Lee, they will need a couple of quick baskets. And what really worked for Fort Lee in that second and early third quarter, they were able to turn over Dumont using their own 1-2-2 press. Got a few easy baskets, including a couple from Mutassim Al-Hajayi that gave Fort Lee the lead for the first time. And this is a 10-1 fourth quarter for Dumont. As Greenberg picks up a foul on the floor. And that's Milo Santos picking up his 4th. So he'll remain in for now. Ilya's fall away is off. Monegro will leave outside. Santos, good extra. That's a corner 3 from Munoz. And Fort Lee trying to get something quick, and that ball is deflected out by Aiden Reed. Greenberg and Munoz, very good on-ball defending, making it difficult. Greenberg then forces it up, it doesn't go. Reed, they'll try another one. And then Santos got in there on the tap, and it's a Fort Lee foul on the floor. Jacob Greenberg the foul, his second. They'll call that shooting. This sends Milo Santos to the free throw line. Santos was a starter all last year as a sophomore. And great words from his coach Matt Butler about him. How intense he is in everything he does. Game speed all the time, all-out effort. And the other thing that really stood out about Milo Santos is that he has tremendous body language all the time. You don't hear that said today about high school athletes. He misses both, though. And the lead remains 12, a knock away by Prince Munoz. He gets ahead and scores, and the foul. And the Huskies have come up with a runaway here in the fourth quarter, up by 14. Prince Munoz called a stunt double of Santos, just wants to win. And with his ball pressure, he comes up with the one-on-one takeaway on Abdullah Saidi. and converts the three-point play. Avazoglu, Jake Ehrlich, and a much-needed three for the Bridgemen. Just a third made three for Fort Lee tonight. And Saidi trying to apply pressure on Monegro, and the takeaway by Al-Hajayi. Chance for Fort Lee to push. Saidi trying to throw it off of a Dumont player. Ilya the leave. Avazoglu again. Two quick threes for Fort Lee. First one of the night for John Avazoglu, 6-foot sophomore shooting guard. And that cuts it to 9 in a hurry. Timeout by Dumont. So hold on a moment. Fort Lee, by the way, will be back at home this Thursday night. On the 8th against Dwight Morrow. You'll be able to watch that one right here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Dumont will be home also on the road on Thursday, hosting Ridgefield Park in Big North American Division action. Dumont led by as many as 15, but then back-to-back threes for Fort Lee. Ehrlich and Avazoglu have brought Fort Lee within reasonable striking distance. And this time Dumont undeterred with the 1-2-2 press. McKelly outside for Reed, and that was a quick shot. Ball knocked free, picked up by Al-Hajayi. Avazoglu to his left. Fires away Elio, the long rebound. Elia shut off from the three. He'll go for the two, not there, got it back, missed again. McKelly now throws it off of Saidi, out of bounds, back to Dumont. Munoz as he turns the corner. Reed caught the high pass, left that short. Santos, though, up off the backboard and down. 9 for Milo Santos. Dumont already with 3 players in double figures as Ehrlich tried that quick three. The lead is 11 as we'll hit 2 minutes to go in the fourth. Aiden Reed soars to the rim. And once he gets going at that 6'3" length, very difficult to stop. 10 of his 12 have come in the second half as Ilya screen and roll and the foul. First time Fort Lee's been able to execute that set. As McKelly picked up the foul with 1:41 left, and Fort Lee needing this free throw to set up their pressure. Elia, though, can't get it. And Monegro, though, had it knocked free. Ball on the floor. And the outlet for Josiah Monegro. Dumont came in averaging about 55 a game. And they're well above that now as a timeout is going to be taken by Matt Butler with 1:22 to play. Their season high in points came in that big bounce back win after 2 straight losses to Elmwood Park on December 30th. Dumont scored 10 of the first 11 points of this fourth quarter to pull away. after the Huskies took a 43-40 lead with them into the final quarter. And Fort Lee has been fighting uphill ever since, despite a 21-point game, a career high for junior Mutassim Al-Hajayi. And they've gotten 11 from Jake Ehrlich. But 3 Huskies are in double figures. A 4th, Santos, seems inevitable. He has 9. McKelly, and McKelly will be fouled. Dumont has the possession hour anyway. That's 14 fouls on Fort Lee, so they had 1 to give as Jacob Greenberg takes number 3. And now out of bounds is Aiden Reed. So it's been Dumont tonight that I think has turned the ball over more than Fort Lee this evening. Saidi. Al-Hajayi, good defense on the strip by Monegro. And then Monegro is fouled and he'll shoot free throws. Wonderful defending there by Josiah Monegro, as he knew that the spin back was coming and he was ready for it. So while Monegro may not come up with a career high tonight and break that 29 points at Ramsey, but his impact has been massive. He's got his 2nd career 20-point game. Gets 1 of 2. Avazoglu. Saidi left open. Can't get that to go. As McKelly rebounds. .44 seconds left. And Dumont putting on the finishing touches of what will be the Huskies' 3rd straight win as Greenberg commits the foul on Santos. And for Dumont, you could see the excitement that Coach Matt Butler has on in his mind coming in. All about, can we play and build up to be very unselfish and play together, and then they can be their most successful. And they will still have their spells of playing a little bit too much one-on-one, but they got a taste of high-level competition in Bergen County against Demarest and Ramsey, as Santos now with 11 becomes the 4th Husky into double figures. And tonight, Dumont is going to win without needing Aiden Reed to come up with a big night, as that shot is off by Avazoglu. Santos rebounds. I think that part is very exciting, as Avazoglu applies the foul on Monegro. And this Dumont team, if they are able to shoot the ball from the outside like this, they have 9 threes. They're going to be very difficult to beat in the North 1 Group 2 tournament. Monegro makes the first. Huskies also excited because they have 6'6" junior Elijah Combs starting to come along. There's 35 in white. Starting to gain confidence with each passing day as Monegro makes both free throws to give them another dimension. As Dumont polling, looks like most of their starters. Greenberg to the rim will score. 65-51. Adrian Castillo has come in, a varsity soccer player here, number 11, who has also been competing for minutes, and it's going to be a 10 count on Dumont. So it'll be Fort Lee ball with 4 seconds left. Jacob Greenberg for 3 is off. And we've gone final 65-51. Dumont puts together a huge fourth quarter, breaking open a close game. They outscore Fort Lee 22-11 in the fourth, putting 4 players into double figures and knocking down 9 threes for the game to come away with their 3rd straight win to move to 4-3 on the season and 2-3 in Big North American Division action. Fort Lee loses their 6th in a row, and they're now 2-4 in Big North American Division action. 65-51 is the final. 22 for Josiah Monegro, 12 for Aiden Reed, 11 for Milo Santos, 10 for Prince Munoz. Led Dumont. Monegro had 14 of his 22 in the first half and hit 4 of the 9 threes for Dumont. Fort Lee led by the career night of junior Mutassim Al-Hajayi. He had 21 points, including a 3. Jake Ehrlich with 11 and a 3. Jacob Greenberg with 7. Join us again coming up Thursday night, January 8th. Fort Lee boys basketball right here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel will come up your way at 7 p.m. when Fort Lee will host the Dwight Morrow Maroon Raiders. That is coming up on the 8th. Until then, for all of us, my name is Ralph Bnorchik saying so long, good night, and goodbye, and thank you for watching Fort Lee basketball on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel.